This week, I want to share with you a truly invaluable book. It's titled The Mind, The Power to Shape Your Life as You Desire. This is the final masterpiece, a book that encapsulates over 80 years of business philosophy and wisdom from the life of Japan's business magnate, the master of life philosophy, Inamori Kazuo. When mentioning Inamori Kazuo, I'm sure many book lovers are very familiar with him. This legendary Japanese entrepreneur has left us many incredibly valuable books, all truly worth pondering, such as A Philosophy of Life, Inamori's Business Philosophy, or A Challenge from Zero. However, today, the first book in his series that I've chosen to share with you is his very last one, written when he was nearly 90 years old. Within just 1 year, it was translated into 15 languages and became a worldwide bestseller. In this book, Inamori Kazuo distilled his life experience into one word: mind. With over 80 years of experience as a person who led a successful, happy, and wise life, he told us that everything begins with the mind and will also end with the mind. Everything you encounter in life is attracted by your mind. When you cultivate, refine, and elevate your character, you will attain the life you desire. Now, I will share the core insights I've gathered after reading this book. I invite you to listen. What is the foundation for solid success? Firstly, **** connecting with the mind of the universe ****. Inamori Kazuo, who came from humble beginnings, started his journey in life empty-handed. At 27, he founded Kyoto Ceramic Co., Limited, now known as Kyocera. At 52, he established his second company, currently called KDDI, a giant electronics company in Japan. Both companies grew to become among the 500 strongest enterprises in the world. Not only that, at the age of 78, he took on the role of chairman of Japan Airlines and took just 1 year to revive the airline from the brink of bankruptcy, drowning in debt, and generate an unprecedented profit in its history. So, why did Inamori Kazuo achieve such success in diverse fields? What was the foundational business secret behind his achievements? It's truly incredible that the successive miracles he created weren't due to his status or wealth, nor did he build any complex business strategies. It was because he always held a profoundly simple personal belief. All success stems from an altruistic mind. What is an altruistic mind? Simply put, it means always keeping others in your thoughts. From there, we naturally perform benevolent actions for others. To have an altruistic mind is to possess the most compassionate, noble, and beautiful heart, caring deeply for everyone. Actions driven by altruism always have a high probability of success. Sometimes, they even yield unexpected, astounding results. Inamori Kazuo pointed out that if you start your career with a mind that prioritizes the interests of others, everything will develop positively, and your destiny will be transformed. Before embarking on any task, Inamori Kazuo always asked himself, is this an altruistic act? He believed that any endeavor originating from goodwill and a heart for others would always lead to good outcomes, without exception. A prime example is his decision to accept the invitation to become chairman and rebuild Japan Airlines. This stemmed from his altruistic mind. At that time, the airline was on the verge of bankruptcy. Initially, Inamori Kazuo refused many times because he was already elderly, and more importantly, he wasn't an aviation expert. However, he reconsidered, believing that rebuilding Japan Airlines held 3 important meanings. 1. For social stability and Japan's economic reconstruction. If Japan Airlines went bankrupt, it would leave a very serious negative impact on Japan's economy. A successful rebuilding could boost social confidence. 2. To protect the livelihoods of 32,000 employees. If the reconstruction failed, countless people would lose their jobs. But if it succeeded, it could protect the livelihoods of over 30,000 people. 3. For the convenience of the domestic populace. If Japan Airlines collapsed, the country would be left with only one major airline, leading to a risk of high ticket prices and lower service quality, disadvantaging the public. Just as Confucius said, "He who sees what is right and fails to act is a coward." This was the very mind of Inamori Kazuo that gave him the courage and resolve to accept the position amidst the pessimistic public opinion of the time. Driven by this benevolent and altruistic mind, he vigorously pushed for reforms, and within just 1 year, Japan Airlines was rapidly restored. At this point, you might think, I've heard this philosophy countless times. Live for the benefit of others. I know it's true, but it's too difficult. If you have such thoughts, you need to understand the deeper reason behind his perspective and reinforce your belief in this concept for yourself. He believed that deep within everyone's heart, there always exists something called the soul, and even deeper, at its core, is the *** true self, the authentic person, considered the essence of humanity. The true self is the purest and most beautiful part of the soul. How do we reach our true self? By living with an altruistic mind. You need to know that this true self is also the mind of the universe that created all things. All religions believe that everything in the world shares a single existence, the mind of the universe. It's just that all of us and all things exist in myriad forms, in distinct states, yet all things and we are one. Therefore, when you attain the true self in the deepest part of your soul, you also reach the mind of the universe. At that point, we will touch the roots of all things and find the meaning of life. In other words, when you possess a benevolent and altruistic mind, the deepest part of your being connects with the universe. Meanwhile, the universe always has the will to act, to drive all things to constantly evolve, develop in a positive direction, and move towards happiness. Therefore, when we have a noble heart with an altruistic mind, we can resonate with the mind of the universe. From this, everything in our lives can naturally unfold in a better direction. Inamori believed that those who understand this truth can also understand the meaning of being human and why we are born into this life. In today's society, too many people still live solely to satisfy their own desires, frantically pursuing material wealth with ambitions for status and power. However, that is not the goal of life. Inamori Kazuo, having reached the destination many admire and covet, tells us that the purpose of life is to refine one's mind and dedicate oneself to others. He said this not because he had reached the pinnacle, fully satisfied with wealth and fame, but because from beginning to end, he lived with a mind for others, and that's how he achieved those things. This is also a law of the universe. The more you give, the more you receive. When you give and live altruistically, you will receive warmth, fulfillment, and can become increasingly successful in your career. Altruism might seem like yielding the way for others, but in reality, you are building a bridge for yourself. Giving roses to others leaves a lingering fragrance on your hands, and an altruistic heart attracts blessings and abundant wealth for yourself. Continuously cultivate and elevate your mind with an altruistic heart, living to give and for others. When you dedicate your efforts to society, you will find value in your own life. Once you start, never give up. Of course, simply having a heart for others is not enough. Inamori Kazuo believed that to achieve lasting success, you must also possess the willpower not to shy away from challenges and have the passion to achieve your goal at all costs. He called this the *** burning fighting spirit ***. Inamori Kazuo believed there's only a small difference between successful people and unsuccessful ones. That difference lies in one idea. When faced with unprecedented difficulties, can you truly believe that you can do it? When Kyocera was first established, it was just a small factory. Gradually, it attracted attention both domestically and internationally, eventually making significant leaps. But it was during this process that it entered 3 years of arduous struggle for his company. The first challenge began when Kyocera received a large order from IBM. However, IBM demanded that Kyocera's products meet quality standards 10 times higher than their current capability. At that time, Kyocera did not have the equipment to produce such products. To fulfill this order was truly an impossible task. But faced with this immense difficulty, Inamori Kazuo vowed that no matter what, they absolutely had to succeed. Because by completing this order, he could elevate their technical capabilities and propel the company onto the world stage. From that day on, he moved into the factory, living and working alongside the employees, directing and supervising every stage and process. After each workday, Inamori personally saw off every employee, thanking them for their hard work. Then, he would return to his office and continue working until early morning. After 7 months of selfless struggle, the samples produced by Kyocera, through numerous trials, finally met the required standards. Subsequently, the factory began operating at full capacity 24 hours a day to meet the large quantity within the stipulated deadline. This success experience brought immense confidence and triumph to the Kyocera Group in the years that followed. Since then, Kyocera has launched new products through continuous research and development, and all of the company's projects have been victorious. Someone once asked Inamori Kazuo, "How do you achieve success time and time again?" He simply replied with one phrase, "Never give up." 3 foundations for a happy life. Next, let's explore the 3 foundations for building a happy life that Inamori Kazuo outlined in his book. Gratitude, humility, and diligence. First and foremost, gratitude. No matter when or what happens, whether good or bad, we must always be grateful. No matter how ideal our lives may become, these good things will not last forever. He also advised us not to immerse ourselves in victory and comfort, forgetting to express gratitude to those who helped us. Being grateful for receiving help is something many people know, but being grateful even when facing adversity and hardship is not something everyone can do. For Inamori Kazuo, harsh circumstances are opportunities to train one's mind and soul. Furthermore, being grateful even in disaster can help us eliminate negative karma. Regarding this point, Inamori Kazuo shared a story. He once stumbled during his career development, and it was his life mentor, Master Nishikata Tanji, who gave him valuable teachings. After Inamori Kazuo founded the Kyocera Group, his company produced a type of artificial knee joint. Doctors agreed that the knee joints produced by Kyocera had no issues and urged Kyocera to bring them to market as soon as possible. Under the urging of the medical community, Kyocera began production without obtaining a license. As a result, major newspapers and magazines reported that Kyocera was selling artificial knee joints for profit without approval from the Ministry of Health. This incident caused a shockwave of public outrage. Both the Kyocera Group and Inamori Kazuo himself were fiercely criticized. After this event, he didn't make excuses but continuously stepped forward to admit his mistakes and apologize. However, the situation continued for many days, leaving him physically and mentally exhausted. So he went to the temple and sought advice from the master. The two sat facing each other. The master brewed tea as usual, carefully listened to the entire story, and then told Inamori Kazuo, "Excellent. When disaster strikes, it is also the time when past karma disappears. Enduring this can help eliminate negative karma and cleanse the past errors you've made. It should be celebrated." Here I'll briefly explain the word karma that the master mentioned. It's a Buddhist term that generally refers to all human actions, words, thoughts, and activities. Karma is divided into good karma, bad karma, and karma that is neither good nor bad. Simply put, karma is divided into 3 types: good, bad, and neutral. Returning to Inamori Kazuo's story, immediately after hearing the master's words, he suddenly achieved enlightenment and accepted the criticisms and accusations as a form of repentance. Only the most sincere repentance can cleanse one's negative karma. Humans cannot live without suffering, and at such times, we must not be disheartened or fall into despair. Because the master said, when failure and hardship arrive, it is also when past karma is eliminated. So why not joyfully embrace it? Be grateful for even the bad things and difficulties, and you will naturally take a new step forward. This is the secret of secrets for you to overcome life's arduous journey. Besides gratitude, the second foundation for building a happy life is humility. Inamori said, "Humility is a protective charm. With a humble heart, you can steer clear of disaster. This is like having an extra layer of protection for your life. As humans, we easily become complacent. Many of us, when our careers are flourishing or when we are a little better than others and receive praise from those around us, immediately feel our disposition swayed. It might soar wildly like a kite without direction in the sky. If we allow ourselves to continue like this, we will inadvertently become arrogant, conceited, and condescending towards others. Life, too, can deviate from its path. In his book, Inamori Kazuo tells us that the things we often believe are ours, such as our body, mind, thoughts, emotions, money, status, abilities, and reputation, are in fact all merely bestowed upon us. Therefore, the idea that all these successes are due to me is actually groundless. If we recognize this and constantly remind ourselves in life and work, arrogance will disappear and our hearts will be filled with humility and gratitude. Finally, the third foundation for building a happy life is *** diligence. After understanding that we need to live and work with an altruistic mind, always thinking of others, always being grateful and humble, and when facing difficulties, fighting with a never-give-up spirit, the remaining quality to keep ourselves steadily progressing and achieve a happy life and lasting career success is *** diligence**. Carry this belief and philosophy of life and always be assiduous and hardworking. You will quickly attain what you desire for yourself. These are the secrets to solid success and the foundations for living a happy life. This book contains many other profound philosophies of Inamori Kazuo. I highly encourage you to read the entire book and draw your own lessons. The realization after reading *Themind* is, I believe, one of the most important ideas throughout the book, and also what Inamori Kazuo wanted to convey to you. Your magnetic field determines your destiny **. Inamori Kazuo believed that everything that happens in life is attracted and shaped by our own minds. In his book, he wrote, "All misfortunes in life have no other reason than being attracted by one's own mind. It is the mind that constantly pours out misfortunes and constantly complains, which is called unhappiness. Complaining is a poison, and the more you complain, the worse your situation will become. When you stop transmitting negative energy and adjust your mindset, you will be able to find a ray of light in that very fog." In life, not a few of us always grumble and complain when we encounter difficulties or anything that displeases us. The result is that the more you fear something, the more you will encounter it. The more you try to avoid something, the more you will plunge headfirst into it. As an artist once said, people are easily hypnotized by what they say, and the complaints you constantly repeat will become your life. You need to remember that the people and things you dislike are all attracted by you. When you try to change your disposition and escape negative energy, luck will shine in your life. So, how to escape negative energy? Live in a positive magnetic field. Inamori Kazuo was nicknamed the man who carries the sun, because no matter what happened, a radiant smile always bloomed on his face. He believed that as long as you maintain a positive and optimistic attitude, even in the worst situations, things can still go smoothly. When Inamori Kazuo was young, both his grandfathers and one grandmother died of tuberculosis, to the point that people called his family the TB family. Because of this, when he was a child, he was always worried that he would die from the disease. And indeed, what he worried about came true. He did contract tuberculosis. His body was weak, his spirit was depleted, and nothing he did succeeded. At this time, a neighbor gave him a book titled The Truth of Life. It said, "Within each person's heart lies a magnet that can attract whatever you think. Any hardship or adversity can only occur due to the existence of a mind that attracts them. Nothing comes to us that we do not invite." His heart suddenly became clear. He no longer felt depressed every day and began to study diligently, striving his best to prepare for the entrance exam to junior high school, which he had failed twice before. Unexpectedly, later, there was a bombing in the area. Many people, afraid of being shot, fled in panic, but Inamori Kazuo was not afraid. He proactively stayed to help sick people on the escape route. And precisely because of this, a miracle happened. After the war, his tuberculosis healed on its own, and at the same time, he successfully passed his exam. As he once said in his book, "The power of the heart can create all sorts of incredible phenomena." This is also the famous law of magnetic fields. Although our naked eyes cannot see the magnetic field around you, it is silently influencing each of our lives. If you are pessimistic about the world, believing that everything is terrible, you will ultimately truly be an unlucky person and fall into life's chaos. But conversely, optimistic people can calmly deal with changes. Even in a dangerous situation, they can focus on finding the root cause of the problem and ultimately salvage the situation. You must understand that all good fortune is not obtained by seeking, but by attracting it with a positive and optimistic heart. When you always smile, life will respond with the greatest kindness. Inamori Kazuo wrote this in the final lines of his book. Everything in life begins with the mind and ends with the mind. His life experienced ups and downs, from war to severe illness, from difficult circumstances to business crises, but no danger or difficult situation could defeat him. This was because he always had an unwavering conviction in his heart. He was not afraid, did not complain, and was able to steadily achieve great accomplishments, helping the world and living happily with great wisdom. For a business or an individual, more than striving for a clever strategy or a modern technical development plan, cultivating the mind is the fundamental root. May all of us engrave the teachings of the philosophy master Inamori Kazuo. Please remember that everything that happens in life is a reflection of your mind. Regardless of good or bad, one must be grateful. One must be humble to know gratitude. Diligent and assiduous effort can lead to touching the truth of the universe. The secret to lasting success is to have an altruistic mind, doing everything for others. When you feel like you cannot do it, that is when you truly begin. No matter what, fight to the end and never give up. And finally, everything begins with the mind and ends with the mind.